Hey everybody, Tyler from Cali Critic Reviews here to give you guys my early review of the latest 1980s classic to get a remake in this generation, Footloose. Now given I am a fan of the original Footloose, so I was at first very pissed when I found out that they were remaking this, but I did get some hope out of it when I found out that director Craig Brewer was attached to direct it, and he's definitely a very strong director of this generation. Now for those of you who are not familiar with the premise of the original, it goes like this. You have the city kid, Ren McCormick, who in this version is played by Kenny Wormald, and this time instead of being from Chicago, he's from Boston, because Wormald in real life is a Bostonian. You can definitely tell by his accent, in which he must relocate to this old-fashioned, small, uptight town called Beaumont, in which they have this law place there that bans dancing and loud music, which mostly stems from a car accident that killed 3 students because they were under the influence of alcohol and also distracted by the music on the radio. Going into this film, I had very low expectations because I was simply not looking forward to this kind of film. I mean, why remake a 1980s classic that starred Kevin Bacon? It just didn't make sense. I saw the movie all the way back in August, and I did have conflicting thoughts at the time, but after doing a lot of thinking over time and revisiting some of the scenes in my mind as well, I have to say that this is definitely one of the better remakes of this year. The performances are very stellar. Kenny Wormald plays the new Ren, and his background as a professional dancer translates very well to the pivotal dance sequences in this remake. And while he does very good in those, because you can tell that Kevin Bacon obviously had doubles in the original, it was really cool to see him do all of his own dancing sequences on his own, while at the same time his acting is pretty good for a debut, but definitely did not rank with Kevin Bacon's performance in the original, because come on, no one can top Kevin Bacon. Julianne Hough as Ariel Moore I found to be way better than Laurie Singer in the original, as the character felt very fresh in this version. She had a lot of energy too, and also she held her own in the dramatic sequences much better as well. I just thought the characterization in the original for Ariel Moore was very weak at times. She just felt like a very familiar caricature, but in this version it just feels like a whole new character arises, and Hough does a perfect job with it too. Dennis Quaid felt a little stiff as the new Reverend Moore. While he did do an okay job, I just feel like he didn't really have that iron fist that John Lithgow had in the original, in which he just literally had this feeling like he ruled this town. You could not top anything that you could even get past from him. But for me, the standout was definitely Miles Teller, who you may know from Rabbit Hole, in which he plays the new Willard in this version. His comedic timing is spot on perfect, and the banter between him and Kenny Wormald is just perfect in this version. His performance definitely ranks right along with how great Chris Penn was in the original as well, and Nice Guy Eddie would definitely be proud of this kid because his comedic timing just perfectly works for this. Director Craig Brewer is definitely the powerhouse of this film though. He does a perfect job at staying true to the original, and he even throws in all these different tribute sequences of the original when he's about to tweak them into this kind of generation. And his choice for music is very well. You may see a couple rap songs in the trailer, and there was one rap song in particular that did piss me off a little bit, but he has a perfect mix of music. He not only features all of the songs that were in the original, but not all of them, but the majority of the most famous tracks, including Kenny Loggins' famous version of Footloose as well. But he also mixes together some of today's generation music, but from different genres, and it just made it very fresh and very great in its variety for all those different people who have different tastes of music, in which they'll get their one great bit out of this film from a certain sequence then. If I had any problems with this movie, I'd say that there were some things that they made new that didn't really serve any purpose to the film at all, especially involving this whole racing culture that was thrown in. But at the same time, the southern grit that Brewer puts into this movie, just like he has for all of his other films, it just gives it that much more of a fresh feeling. So in the end, I really did enjoy the Footloose remake. Even coming from a true fan of the original, that says a lot right there, but at the same time, I'm going to be very curious at how the fans of the original are going to take in this version, because it's definitely different in some parts, and especially I know a lot of the fans of the original are up with this generation's culture. But I did have a pretty good time with Footloose. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I'm going to be writing a new review of it because I assume there are some of you that did see my original review of this, but after all the thinking I did, I decided to change it. So I'm going to be writing a new review, which you guys will be able to see soon. So I hope you enjoyed my review of the Footloose remake. I'll be back this weekend. I'll be reviewing Take Shelter and maybe The Ides of March. So in the meantime, I'm Tyler from Cali Critic Reviews, and I'll see you guys later.